Hi, Caribou Country Lifestyle. Cheryl here. I just wanted to talk about some important things to think about when you want to start a homestead. We purchased this property 2.5 years ago, and one of the first things that we started when preparing our property to have a little bit more of a self-sustainable lifestyle was we actually renovated this chicken coop. And it was an existing chicken coop that was here, and we totally gutted it, used the frame shell of the chicken coop, and just basically installed some better features to it. So our first year of raising chickens, we ended up we got 14 of the Rhode Island red chickens. I don't know if you can see. We got 14 of the Rhode Island red chickens our first year. And then we also, we got 15. And then we also got 15 meat birds. Some of them were the broilers, and they're the Cornish cross. And then we also got a few of the Western rustics, and they just actually are a more slow growing breed of a chicken, but they're all the meat birds that we have gotten. That was our first spring after we moved onto this property. The spring of 2021, we actually picked up some black astrolorps, and we picked up some buff orpingtons. They're all laying hens. In this coop is all laying hens, and we actually have one rooster. So we can average anywhere in between 15 and 20 eggs a day that we get from our chickens, the laying chickens. In the spring of 2021, we actually got 30 meat birds. And then this year, in the spring of 2022, we have picked up 30 meat birds again. We are getting 15 of the Western rustics, and we're getting 15 of the Cornish cross. I got a chicken that's pecking at my leg. So these are all of the ladies, except for that one right there in the middle. That's our one rooster. It's actually a pretty nice looking rooster. All the rest, we have the black astrolorps, and we have the buff orpingtons, and we still have our Rhode Island reds as well. Let's go see about getting some eggs. So inside the chicken coop, we actually have, if we look there, I'm going to get my container, and I'm going to get the eggs that we have so far. I got 3 eggs this morning, and then I usually come out here about 2 or 3 times a day. I have 5 in here, but I have to check on the other sides as well. So let's go check over here. I have these side doors open, and now that it's a little warmer out during the day, I like to make sure that we get a little bit more airflow going in to the coops as well. And this is the other side of the coop. I check this also. Oh, I have a big stash of eggs in here. So, this should be fun. So, I'm crawling into the chicken coop because I have like 2, 4. Hello, ladies. I'm gonna check in these others. Nothing in there. But look at this. There must have been about 8 in that corner. At least 8. Now I gotta gracefully try and get out of here without hurting myself. That wasn't too bad. Wasn't too painful. So yeah, I have a dish of eggs here. So that was good. So like I say, we get anywhere from 15 to 20 eggs a day from these chickens. And we do sell some of our eggs and we give some of them away. Mostly we give them to family. But I sell some of our eggs too. Last year, another thing that we installed was we put in all these raised garden beds. So in here, last year I planted a winter cover crop in all of this bed. And then in this back bed, this is where I planted my asparagus. And then I did a winter cover crop, fall and winter cover crop over on this side too. These are my other raised beds. I have cattle panels set up on all my raised beds also. We still have lots of snow, as you can see. So I have 5 across this way, and then I have 4 more over there. So that's 9 individual beds. And then I have this U-shaped bed that my husband built me as well. The first year that we were living here, we moved in September of 2019, and then in the spring of 2020 I did not have these raised beds. I ended up just bringing in some dirt and I mounded up some dirt, so they were kind of like a raised bed, but it was just on the ground. There was no frames around them or anything like that. I didn't have a fence around my garden, which I have a fence now. And that first year that I planted my vegetables in there, just the deer got to them and were eating all the plants out of that. So it was kind of a bit of a lost cause. Then in the spring of 2021, Jamie and I set up the fence and he started building these raised beds for me. And last year was definitely a better year for us for having a garden. Another thing we have added to our property is we are raising meat pigs. So we picked up our first 2 meat pigs, and that was in June of 2021. And no, actually, sorry, we picked up our first 2 meat pigs in April of 2021. And we ended up, one of the meat pigs, they were sisters, and one of the meat pigs actually was pregnant and had 4 babies. And so we had 6 pigs, 4 babies, and the 2 sisters. We did butcher the one sister that did not have babies, and we tried a local butcher here for that pig, and I mean, it turned out good, but I think we want to try a different butcher so we can try a few different butchers and then decide which one we're the most happy with the quality of meat and the taste. So these are our pigs. This breed of pigs is the Landrace and the Berkshire that's a cross. And the one sister that we butchered, we actually got about 170 pounds of meat from that first one. Now we still have the big spotted mama. We were supposed to be butchering her tomorrow, but, well, hello, Hans. This is all I got. I don't have any more. No, I don't have any more. I don't. I know. You just want to be on camera, don't you? You just want to be on camera. There's nothing else in there. Oh, I got a little top. Do you want that one? There. Have that. Do you want that? This is one of the 4 sisters. Her name is Hans. My son had ended up naming Hans. And then we have Piglet, we have Pyquat, and oh, here comes Piglet. She wants her little movie debut. She is the runt of all the litters. Come on. No, she doesn't want to be petted. She just wants to have more snacks. So, it's actually fairly easy to raise pigs. When we first got the 2 sisters, they were actually a lot of fun in raising them. And then when the one sister had her babies, we were a little overwhelmed because we weren't planning for that. And it actually ended up being really good as well. They're really pretty a forgiving animal to raise. And like I say, we were going to butcher the big mama this Friday, but my husband's dad has been having some health issues, and he ended up having to not be able to follow through with butchering the mama. So I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be happening now. So we'll just have to wait and see. With our chickens that we have, when we have the meat birds, we actually process the meat birds ourselves. We end up renting a chicken or the feather plucker, and we cut their heads off ourselves. We rent the chicken plucker for the feathers, and then we have a great big pot of hot water that we have going on a propane burner. And so we cut the head off of our chickens, we dip them in the hot water, then we put them on the chicken plucker to pluck the feathers off. And then I will be the one that usually plucks the excess feathers that couldn't come off in the feather plucker. And then we end up taking their guts out and cleaning them up, putting them into bags, and then we put them in our freezer. And in total last year, we had over 30 birds that we processed for meat birds. And in total, we ended up putting about 180 pounds of chicken meat in our freezer. So that was definitely awesome. This mama pig, she is over 500 pounds. So my oldest son and Jamie and I will be splitting that pig once we take her in and have her butchered. My son wants half of the big mama pig and we'll be taking the other half. So that will also be meat in our freezer again. Last year we ended up starting up a berry and fruit tree area. So in total we have probably about 3 dozen raspberry canes, and we have probably about 60 strawberry plants. I have a sour cherry tree. I did put in some elderberry bushes, some haskap bushes, some blueberry bushes, and last year I put in a Honeycrisp apple tree. And then my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law gave us a pear tree. I'm not exactly sure what variety of pear tree it was. They didn't really know either. So I'm hoping that it is going to make it, and we will maybe have some pears on that tree this coming season. We have ordered more meat birds. We get them as babies, so they're only 1 or 2 days old when we receive them, and we'll be receiving them the middle of April this year, and we have ordered another 30 meat birds. And usually it takes anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks before we will process them. So we won't be processing them until in between the middle to the end of June, which will be just before summer, and that actually works out perfect because we end up going camping quite a bit throughout the summer, and we'll have all of that taken care of. There we have it. So far I have 16 eggs that I've collected, and that's just from today. Another good skill to have is canning. So a lot of times throughout the summer and going into the fall, I will do a lot of canning. I make applesauce, I do salsa, I do pickles, jam, I have chili sauce that I will make, I do jellies, antipasta. Preserves that I have are I can peaches, I also can plums, I make zucchini relish, I also have made green tomato mincemeat, and of course, last but not least, another good skill to have for you self-sustainability is to start your own seeds. Starting your own seeds for your vegetables and flowers to have in your garden area can save you a lot of money. Besides having a garden and having them ready to go into your garden will save you a substantial amount of money. I usually, when I'm purchasing my seeds, I can spend anywhere from probably, and I also get some supplies as well. This last year I did buy a couple of heat mats. I bought some more 3-inch pots, and I also got some of those Jiffy Fiber pots also. But besides that, I did get some sweet potatoes They are sweet potato slips. They're just the roots, and I will be planting those as well once I receive them in the mail. That's the only thing that I haven't received in the mail. Everything else I've gotten. So between my seeds and my supplies and my sweet potato slips, I've probably ended up spending probably about $200 in this season. I spent a lot more than that last year, over $300 last year. It can be expensive in that aspect of it. One way of being able to save you some money when you are ordering seeds is find a couple of friends that are also interested in ordering seeds, and you can save money that way on ordering your seeds together. With some of the companies that I order through, you could save on your shipping. There is one company that I order through, and that's Lindenburg Seeds. And if you have a $60 order, which I have no problem spending $60, they don't charge you a shipping fee. So that's actually quite nice knowing that. And so a majority of my purchases are through Lindenburg, and I find that their prices are a little bit cheaper than some of the other seed orders that I order through. I also order through T&T, and I have a book from Vessie's, and I also just picked up a book from West Coast Seeds, but I haven't ordered through either of those companies as of yet. So starting off and having a self-sustainable living, and having, like, we don't have a very large size property. It is 1.25 acres, so we have just over an acre. So for us, that is something that's manageable. We started with our chickens, and we had to, when we first got our first chickens in the spring of 2020, and we did get laying chickens and we got our meat birds, we actually didn't start laying eggs until October. So we actually had to wait for a while before our chickens started to lay eggs. Last year, Jamie also picked up for our meat birds that we had in 2021. He ended up building one of those portable chicken tractors. Now his didn't have wheels on it, so he was just dragging it along the ground, and that worked. But I think if there were wheels on it, it would make it a little easier to pull across the ground. When we first get the chickens, we have them on a starter chick food, and we get the non-medicated chick starter. And then once they start laying eggs, then we switch them actually over to the layer pellets. So all of our chickens now are on layer pellets, and it's about a 18% protein in the layer pellet food. And then we'll also give them like little treats. They like cooked rice, cooked noodles. We give them vegetable peels. We also give, they love tomatoes, and we'll give them chopped up cucumbers and things like that. Lots of water. We always make sure that their water is always full with fresh water. We, in the summertime, we actually fill up their water feeder twice a day, but in the winter time, we only give them fresh water once a day. For as far as the pigs go, we buy hog grower. We also give them a mix of the oats, barley, and wheat pig feed, and that is all from our local feed store here in our area. And then we give them fresh water 3 times a day. We also give them a little bit of, supplement them with hay, and we also give them snacks as well. And I'm always going to the different grocery stores and looking for old bread and discontinued fruits and vegetables, and I'll pick those up and we give that to our pig. Another little hobby that I've been doing, and I've been doing this for years, is I also make my own wine from, I like to do it from kits. I'm not very good, or I shouldn't say that I'm not very good at it, but I've never tried to make wine from fruit that we have picked or grown or have an excess of. I'm not confident in trying that as of yet. So I just mostly do it from kits that I've picked up from our local U-Brew store, and I will bring the kit home, and I have all the supplies to make my own wine as well. And that saves a lot of money too. And it's a good, sustainable skill to have. You never know, we might come to a time where we might have to barter some of our skills with other people that are like-minded in our area, in our growing community. So, but I think that's about all that we have done so far with our property. Our plans for this year are to fence our whole property in, and that's mostly to help keep the deer out. And another thing that we would like to add in this year is to possibly build a greenhouse. That would be nice to have, especially for the heat-loving plants like your tomatoes and your peppers and your eggplant. I think those plants there would benefit quite nicely with having a greenhouse. So if you have any comments that you would like to add down below, please feel free to do that. If you've subscribed, thank you. If you haven't subscribed, you might want to think about that. And also, if you like this video, throw a like in there. So that's all I have for you for today. And we will talk again. Bye for now.